Hey everybody, so I wanted to make this video because I recently volunteered at an event where we were talking to high schoolers about medical school and about, some random topics in the medical field. So I just wanted to make this video for anyone considering medical school, both high schoolers, pre-med people in college, whatever, just things that I wish someone had told me and some things that I would tell any friend of mine who is at that stage in their life. So the first thing that I'd want them to do is consider every potential job that they could have. I know that there are certain people who get pressured into med school. I know that some parents definitely do that. I know that there's definitely pressure from some people. I would not give in to that pressure if that's the only reason you're going to do medicine. And that's because it is a very long road. You do 4 years of med school and then minimum 3 years of residency. So this is a 7-year commitment. You put yourself in debt if you don't have parents who can help you out, and you give up a lot of your life. Like, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm not able to buy a house right now. Hopefully maybe in residency, you don't know, but I don't have a lot of the things that my friends who aren't in medicine have. I don't go on trips as much as they do. I don't have as much free time. When I come home after school, I'm still studying, whereas I have friends who, when they come home, they're done and they get to go have fun. Granted, I'm going to disclose now, this is what I want to do with my life. I understand that there were some sacrifices, but I think that those sacrifices are worth it for me. But I had to think this through, and I made this educated decision. But some people, they make this decision and don't think things through. So I'm fully disclosing, I don't regret my decision. I love what I've chosen, but I want other people to kind of think this through, because I definitely know people who have gone through this process and wish they had chosen something else. Engineering tends to be the thing that other people wish they would have done. And a lot of my friends are engineers and they do seem to be happy. And honestly, I think if I hadn't done medicine, I would have done some sort of engineering, either computer or biomedical. But I know that medicine is what's for me. I don't regret not doing engineering. So I'd wish that everyone who's considering medicine actually, considers other fields, because when it comes down to it and you're studying at 1 a.m. and you're really tired and you're like, why did I put myself through this? You're going to remember, oh, it's because this is what I wanted, because I thought through all the options and this is the career for me. And that kind of helps. I think it really sucks if you're like, well, I don't know why I'm putting myself through this. I think that's really cruddy. So I would recommend anyone interested in medicine, make sure you explore your options, make sure that this is the right fit for you. There is nothing wrong with not being 100% sure in medicine, especially that early on. I think that we tell these little kids say, I'm set on this and I want to do pediatric neurology or something like that. Or I want to do pediatric, I don't even know. You don't have to be specific. You don't have to know for sure. I can tell you right now, I was interested in orthopedic surgery because I had an ACL reconstruction, and I said, I'm going to be an orthopedic surgeon. And I can disclose right now, I'm not going to be an orthopedic surgeon. But I was so set on that because I just wanted to say I knew what I was doing, and I didn't. Now, there are people who have said since they were 14 or earlier that they want to be an orthopedic surgeon, and that's what they're applying for. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that it is okay to change your mind from the field, the specialty, whatever. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. This is a long-term commitment. Only make it if you truly love it. And then knowing about what med school is like itself, it probably varies from school to school. But for me, the first 2 years was basically you're just in the classroom learning. I will say that I did not spend a lot of time in the classroom. I would watch the videos online and watch the lectures online. And a lot of it also, I was not focusing so much on class material as studying for this Step 1 exam. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about this Step 1 exam when you're talking to people about med school and you're interested in it. Step 1 medical exam, whatever you want to call it, boards, is this test that you take either at the end of your second year, or some people take at the end of third. And meds, residency programs, the places that you go to after you finished med school in the specialty that you're interested in, they will look at that score. Now, some programs look at it more or less, but these schools, just like you have the MCAT, which you use to apply to med school, just like you have the SATs, which you use to apply for undergrad, they use this score. And so this score can have a great influence on what specialty you're able to go into and what program you can go to. Now, am I going to say that if you have a low step 1 score, you are automatically like done for that specialty? No, there are other things that go into it. I'm learning more and more that also who's willing to vouch for you matters a lot. So there are other things that matter in this whole process, but your step 1 score can influence things. And I think that that's really cruddy to have gone through med school saying you want to do this ultra competitive specialty and then realize you don't get the score that you need to do that specialty. So I think you also have to go into this knowing you're going to have to study your butt off and do well in school, or at least do well in this exam if you want to put yourself in a good position to do one of the more competitive specialties. Not saying better, don't want to ever say that a more competitive specialty is a better specialty. They're just some specialties that are harder to get into than others. Ones that come to mind are like any of these specialized surgery programs and anything that and like dermatology, ophthalmology, radiology. I keep hearing back and forth. I can't tell anymore, honestly. Yeah, there are just some specialties that are a little harder to get into than others. And so I would keep that in mind when you're like, going into med school. If you're gung-ho about a certain field, you should know whether that's going to be a hard one to get or a not hard one. I mean, psych is now getting more competitive. I'm not 100% sure. I can also say I don't think I'm going into psych, so I haven't followed it super hard. But from what I've heard, it was a little more competitive last year than other people had expected. So that's also something to consider. And I just want people to also consider that this is a long time commitment, the 4 years med school, the 3 years minimum residency. Anything that I'm looking at is probably going to be longer than that. You can probably go 8 years in residency, probably even longer. And that's a long time. So now you're looking over a decade of your life. And for me, this is in my 20s. I started med school straight out of undergrad. So most of my 20s are going to be spent in med school or in the medical education. So that's something to consider too. I have friends who are, engineers who are having trips and don't have to study when they go home and all that. And they're happy with their lives. And I think that what's important is to just consider all of your options and think things through. And I am happy with my decision. I'm not happy with every aspect of my medical education and the medical field itself, but I am very happy with my choice and I would not change it. But that's what I hope for anyone who is going into the medical field, that they feel that way, that they love this field, that there is nothing else they would rather do with their life. At the end of the day, though, I also want people to know that it's a job. You don't have to have some, calling or, I had this experience and I fell in love with medicine and blah, blah, blah. I knew this was meant for me. You don't have, it's a job at the end of the day, but it's a job that takes a lot from you. So you have to love it, or you have to enjoy it enough to make it worth everything else that you give up in the process. You're giving up years of your life. You're paying a lot for a medical education. You're working long hours depending on your residency for not as much pay, considering the hours. Surgery residents can work, let's say, max 80 hours a week, but they probably are working more. And it's a lot. So you just have to figure out if that's worth it for you. So I would ask around other people, residents, medical students, attendings, what they think of the fields that you're interested in, of just the medical field in general. Do your research, make an educated decision, and I hope that anyone who goes into the medical field enjoys it. And if not, I still wish you the best of luck. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Okay, bye.